Open warfare has erupted in the Victorian branch of the Liberal Party with a spectacular clash between former Treasurer Peter Costello and former State Liberal President Michael Kroger. Today, amid bitter pre-selection battles, claims and counterclaims of a Costello comeback, tensions spilled into the public arena. As political editor Heather Hewitt reports, Tony Abbott and his team could only watch on aghast.
As bust-ups go, this one was breathtaking. The long friendship and political partnership between Peter Costello and Michael Kroger is now officially and publicly over.
Well, look, John, after 35 years of being Peter's best friend, ally and supporter, even I've had enough. Even I'm at my wit's end with Peter. And there comes a point where, people have to move on.
When Michael Kroger went on Melbourne radio this morning to dump on his old mate, he didn't do it by halves. It was sensational listening.
But for 5 years he's been like a bear with a terribly sore head, with a migraine headache, attacking everyone and sundry. So people have just had enough of all this criticism.
People being...
Well, people in the Liberal Party. This is one example I'm giving you of Peter's petty-mindedness, small-mindedness. Why do I not talk to Peter much these days? Because, as all of his ex-friends know, lunch with Peter is an agony. It's a nightmare. You sit there and listen to him unload on Howard. He's not gracious about John. Alexander Downer was a great foreign minister. He's got to make up with Alexander. He and Peter and John were the troika that led that government. Peter's got to stop criticising Tony Abbott. He is not an economic illiterate. He's a Rhodes Scholar, for God's sake. He's got to stop criticising Alan Stockdale and Malcolm Turnbull and Robert Doyle and Michael Ronaldson and John Hewson and Andrew Peacock and party people like Jason Aldworth and Helen Kroger. The list goes on and on. He's got to move on and stop bagging everybody, including me.
As this and much more was going to air, Peter Costello was at a party fundraiser for his old staffer, the new member for Higgins, Kelly O'Dwyer. It was just down the road from the ABC studios at Crown Casino.
Mr Costello, do you have any response to Mr Kroger's allegations?
Great day, great breakfast, went extremely well. It's a good day.
Yeah, sell-out crowd.
Yeah, it's great.
I would say that when two people who are extremely close have a bit of a falling out and are still members of the family, it's pretty awful. But having said that, I wish they'd do it in private rather than sharing it with everyone across Victoria.
That advice seems highly unlikely to be heeded, not with declarations like this from Michael Kroger.
When I'm at my wit's end with him, John, this is the Kroger of the Kroger-Costello faction. When I'm at my wit's end with him, that should tell you something. No, I don't want to have lunch with Peter anymore. I don't want to deal with him anymore. I've been apologising for him and defending him for 35 years, and it's time for him to bury the hatchet with all these people.
Peter Costello later issued a long statement saying he would not reply to the attacks on his character, other than to say they were false. He hoped Michael Kroger would cease them. This formally marks the end of an era when the two men wielded formidable power together in the Victorian Liberal branch in their campaign to make the former Treasurer Prime Minister. It was our report on 7:30 on Wednesday night revealing claims that Peter Costello had canvassed a political comeback with Michael Kroger at a private lunch late last year that sparked today's developments and the total collapse in already soured relations between the two.
I don't drink, and I'm not suggesting he drank too much at that lunch, but I've got a very clear focus. I know what happened. I know the date. I know where it was. It was in Melbourne. It was in late October.
The lunch is claimed to have taken place here at the exclusive Australian Club. In his statement today, Mr Costello made no specific reference to any lunch, but maintained he hadn't sought a comeback or asked for Michael Kroger's help. He said the events of this morning indicated why he wouldn't place confidence in him. Still, Michael Kroger insists the conversation did occur and that he rebuffed an approach to see if Josh Frydenberg, in the blue ribbon seat of Kooyong, might step aside for Peter Costello.
I said, listen, I'm happy to ring Kelly O'Dwyer or Tony Smith, who were two of his former staffers. And he said, don't ring my former staffers. I said, well, why would Josh Frydenberg or any of the other fellows listen to me? So, anyway, I said, no, that's ridiculous.
Tensions built when Michael Kroger's ex-wife, Victorian Liberal Senator Helen Kroger, was dumped to third spot on the Senate ticket. Her supporters think Peter Costello was pulling the strings, but he says he played no part in it. In today's statement, Mr Costello said Michael Kroger had contacted him several times, asking him to intervene, and he declined. The final straw came this week with an unsuccessful attempt to dump Helen Kroger as Senate Whip.
I hope it's helped people understand what is going on, and if we can put this to bed and move on, we'd all be the happier.
Not much chance of that. While Peter Costello says he frequently advises Tony Abbott, Joe Hockey and others, and is proud of the new generation, the final fracturing of this once powerful partnership and the inevitable fallout from it is a major headache they could all do without.